Namaste. This is Timothy Halloran. I am an astrologer in Savannah, Georgia. This is a bi-weekly forecast for the first part of June 2016. You can purchase astrology readings from me at the link below. So this video is really about June. June is one of the most profound months of 2016. And so as per usual, we're going to explain, the aspects, the bit-by-bit information, and then we're going to talk about the actual underlying what is going on, because this is how astrology works. We can always talk about the little bits and pieces, the planets in what signs and what aspects they are forming to one another, and this is always relevant. This is nice, helping us to understand what's going on, what we're dealing with. And at the same time, this is a completely unique moment in time that is unlike any other time, any other Gemini season, any other Saturn square Neptune. It is completely unique in itself. So astrology is truly taking into account the entire whole. You have to look at the entire chart to understand what is going on at this time. So we're going to explain the energetic dynamics at first, and then I'm going to attempt to take a pretty good chunk out of this important time in collective human history. And this is just a lot of people that watch my videos only watch the first 10 minutes, and I'm just going to say, I recommend, if you're going to watch 10 minutes, watch the last 10 minutes of my videos. So Gemini season began about a couple weeks ago. Sun moved into Gemini. Then about a week ago we had, last Tuesday, not this last Tuesday, the Tuesday before, Venus moved into Gemini. So Gemini season is what? When we start to communicate, we are regrouping with friends, we are reading literature. This is a time of discussion. This is a time of sharing information. This is a time of having conversations that are revealing, that can really lay stuff out on the table, and things can change as we have conversations and get input from different perspectives, different experiences, different lives. And we're talking about a new moon in a couple days, June 4th on Saturday. And this new moon is conjoined with Venus, 14 degrees Gemini. And this is an opportunity for us to really find, I believe, our friends, and to find also what is love, what is Venus. And this is largely what we're going to be talking about, because this stuff is going deeper. Now, simultaneously, at the end of May, we had Mars retrograde back into Scorpio, where he's going to remain until August 2nd. So Mars retrograding back into Scorpio, he remains retrograde through the end of June, is when we are going into the deep end in terms of what are these darker, more mysterious desires and motivations and influences in nature, in reality. What are these things? How do I respond to them? How do I work with them? My own shadow, my own fears, my own insecurities is part of this Mars retrograde, which is fundamentally about us changing our association to the dark, to the mystery, to what is outside of our control, to desires, to our own shadow. And these are largely symbols. These are aspects of nature. Now is the time where we are confronting the aspects of nature that may have been deemed too uncomfortable or too uncertain or too murky in the past. Well, these are the days where we are in the murkiness, we are in the uncertainty. This is not a black and white time. This is not a time of having answers given to you, fresh out of the microwave, on a silver platter. Easy does it? No. This is not an easy does it type of time. This is a time where the best I can do is to help reaffirm us of the questions which we are collectively experiencing at this time. And this stuff goes deep. This stuff is Neptune approaching the moon's south node in Pisces, having to do with the collective unconscious, collective beliefs. We had Jupiter square to Saturn a week ago. We've got Saturn approaching a closing square with Neptune all through this month. That first exact square is June 18th. And so this whole month we are dealing with a mutable grand cross. This is what all the astrologers are talking about. This new moon, June 4th, is the initiation of this month of mutable grand cross. A grand cross is a time of creative tension where we are pulled in many different directions. And so we are having to solve problems on different levels than they were created. We're having to do serious investigation that is not leaving reality the way it was before. It is changing things fundamentally. And this is really what I do want to talk about, is what are these changes? How is it happening? And how can we harness this in a way to seriously move forward? We're talking about an opportunity here for collective evolution. And evolution is not something that everybody wants to get on the front lines and push for. And yet, this is the opportunity to do so. And for those of us who are going into these areas, into uncertainty, into our shadows, and are pushing on this fresh line, this front line, I am very much commending you. I am encouraging this type of not picking sides, not right or wrong, investigation into the depth and the murkiness that is our reality, that we are constantly discovering, not having it served to us in a silver platter, not having us given to us through here's the book, here's the organization, here's the group that knows everything and everything is solved and all problems are taken care of. We are now encountering, despite all of that belief that it can be that easy, everything that is saying it's not going to be like that. That's not life. That's not reality. That's not spirituality. That's not love. This new moon is conjoined with Venus. This is the opportunity for us to be inquiring what love is. And once again, this is in Gemini. We are finding our friends, we are communicating with others, and this is the opportunity for us to bring others into the complications that are real. This is not a time to be, oh, well, I'm going to find the one-size-fits-all solution, and oh, all I have to do is change my perspective to this, and there we go, all taken care of. No, we are being each other's psychoanalysts right now. We are being each other's counselors right now. And the way that we are counseling one another and each other is through appreciation of the complexity and the depth of reality. And as we get deeper into this complexity, as we get deeper into the murkiness, we are discovering and uncovering a respect and reverence for life that ultimately is very empowering, instead of it being something that strips us away of our power. That is what we are confronting and we are eliminating, is whatever has stripped away our power in the past. And much of this has to do with collective beliefs, collective disillusionment in terms of what is love, what is spirituality, what is relationship supposed to look like, how does relationship function, what is the purpose of relationship, and simultaneously Mars retrograde in Scorpio is saying all of this can change. Our orientation to symbols, our orientation to nature, to God, to life, to death, to marriage, to divorce, all of these symbols, they have purpose to them. And this purpose is evolving. It's not staying the same. This concept of love that's like a flat line and this is what love is, this is what relationship is, this is what church and God is, that shit has to go. Because that is the stuff that is actually fundamentally disrespecting ourself, our nature, and our relationship to one another. So this new moon is activating a mutable grand cross. New moon conjoined with Venus exact at 14 degrees 53 minutes Gemini. The Sabian symbol for this is two children studying together. We are talking with our friends. We are communicating with each other. And also, 2 children. This is Gemini. This period has a lot to do with polarities. This period has a lot to do with what is light, what is dark, what is left, what is right. And is it about taking sides, or is it rather about understanding the mystical and profound relationship between polarities? Is this reality really a constant battle between good and evil, bad guys versus good guys, offenders versus victims? Is that really reality? Or is there underneath all of this an underlying dynamic, an underlying dance, an underlying meaning and purpose that goes beyond the simple superhero and the arch villain mindset that we have all for thousands and thousands of years collectively believed in? Oh, America's the good guy, this person's the bad guy, blah, 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 blah. This is what we collectively believe. And this is what is being challenged. What is our relationship to one another, and what is love? Venus opposite to Saturn, Sun opposite to Saturn, square to Jupiter on the north node, square to Neptune on the south node. Love is not black and white, fresh out of the microwave, steaming hot, served on a silver platter type of understanding. Particularly when we're talking about Neptune on the south node in Pisces, because this is unconditional love. And this is when we're going to start talking about the collective beliefs that need to change in order to respect what unconditional love actually is. And here's the point. Many people think we're respecting love, we're respecting God, we're respecting our nature and each other by giving a cheaper, less whole, less fulfilling version of what actually love is. What love actually is the whole. It's everything. It's not just the good times. It's not just the upward times. It's not just the periods of union when you and your beloved come together in the honeymoon bed and there's the flower petals and the roses. This is what we are taught to believe love is. And so we have to come together in relationships, and there better be rose petals, and it all better be nice, and we all better talk in a tone where it's nice and fluffy, and it's always joy, and it's always ice cream cones, and it's always excitement for the next wonderful adventure that we're going to do together. And is this what love really is? Is this what spirituality really is? Well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people definitely believe that that is what it is. A lot of people would tell you that the purpose of religion and the church, temple, whatever you want to call it, is that we come together and we have a nice circle of people that we can enjoy and, celebrate. And yeah, that's a good part of this. That's a great chunk of love and life and family and relationship, and that's all very wonderful. And for all the people that are reestablishing this, reintegrating that is very wonderful, and it goes beyond all that too. Because we draw invisible lines in the sand and we say, well, this is where my family goes to, and then outside of that, well, that's not my family. Those people are my enemies. Those people don't want me to be successful. Those people don't want me to be happy. And what are we doing? We are limiting love. We are limiting unconditional love. Many, many people who practice this faith, by the way, we're going to talk about Christianity. And we need to talk about Christianity because Christianity, I'm not someone who's all religious and, oh, this religion, that religion, this is what, culture. It's not really like this. I'm an astrologer, so I study symbols as they correlate to nature and time. And there's this really perverted belief, I'm going to call it out, in the New Age, which is everybody has their own form and everybody finds their own path, and it's like, well, my path might not be your path, and that's okay. You have your own path. You believe in this God, I believe in that. I have this practice. It's different than your practice, but that's okay. We're just on different paths. Not quite. This is not reality or nature. There is actually the one path that is life that we're all on. And I'm not disagreeing that we can't have different colors and shapes and forms, and everybody's got their favorite dish, everybody's got their favorite flavor, everybody's got their favorite practice. That's totally fine. At the same time, we are all coming out of an age of Pisces. that we have all collectively experienced shared themes. And this symbol here of the crucifix, this has been a symbol that has encircled the entire globe. All cultures have come in contact with this symbol at this point of time. It's extremely, extremely relevant to understand the belief system of Christianity, whether or not you consider yourself a Christian or not, because this is the unconscious belief system of our contemporary day and age. And this symbol of our Savior, God, you know, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. This has been God as a symbol in a physically torturous form, being crucified in front of our very eyes, has been the symbol of the last several thousands of years that has seriously and deeply affected the course of human history. And yes, it's profound. And yes, it's beyond our comfort zone. And it seems to me that those that really deeply practice this faith, it's very, very easy to go one of two ways. You either go off into church land where it's all, well, yeah, church is where, you know, you get together and, you know, we play games and we have festivals and we drink together, and it's like, there's no real discussion of the underlying stuff. Or you go the opposite way and it's Stations of the Cross and I'm original sinner and I just need to, you know, feel bad and blah, blah, blah. And like all of this stuff is having to do with our escapisms, with our unconscious beliefs that we have to self-sacrifice, that we are inherently flawed and so we need to put ourselves less than and we're not worthy of, and all of this huge bubble is what we collectively are exploring now through fall time. This is Saturn square to Neptune on Neptune's own south node in Pisces. You know, it's not Neptune's, it's the moon's south node in Pisces. This is the collective situation going on. And what has to change is the understanding of what this symbol is unconditional love. What is love? What is unconditional love? Is it all just fluffy fun and games? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Is nature all just fluffy fun and games? No, it's not. Go spend a couple minutes in the woods where I just was trying to film this and I couldn't because I was swarmed with mosquitoes, stabbed with thorns, covered in poison ivy. It's not all just fun and games. So then the question is here, how do we survive it, be human beings, and be strong in our nature, be empowered in our nature, and be fearless in knowing who we are and truly our relationship to nature and God? Might that be relevant? And so love. What is love? Is your relationship going to be something perfect? Is it going to be something that only reflects back to you what is good and nice and fluffy? Of course not. The function of the vehicle of relationship is one of evolution by making ourselves self-aware of each other through reflection. You fall in love with someone and you decide to spend the rest of your life with that person, that is a very serious commitment. That is a testimony of unconditional love. Why? Because that person that you're going to commit yourself to is not going to be 100% fluff. It's not going to be 100% love and light. And if we're trying to make that what we have to have in order to be okay, we're not. We're not going to be okay. We have to understand what love actually is, which is acceptance of it all. It's acceptance of what is ugly. It is acceptance of what is painful. It is acceptance of what is uncomfortable. Is a part of love. It is a part of what develops love. It is a part of the vehicle of love, which is not a flat line, staying the same forever. No. God is not a flat line, staying the same forever. No, it's not. Study collective history. You start correlating these symbols to history, it becomes enormously fascinating. God has not stayed the same throughout thousands of years of human history. But I'll tell you what has happened throughout thousands of years of human history. There's been a whole lot of competition. There's been a whole lot of my God better than your God, and so my religion's going to take over your religion by taking all of the spirits and all of the nature and all of the understanding that you have and damning those things. Taking what is a part of nature and part of the totality of life and damning part of that nature. Taking your gods and your nature spirits and what you see as a connection to nature, well, now all those are demons and succubi and succubuses, and those things are going to drag you into hell. And what we need to do as spiritual warriors is declare war on those people practicing that religion. We have to declare war on those demons, slaughter all the demons, fight all the demons. Adversaries are everywhere. We must prepare for war. We must fight our adversaries. We must battle our adversaries. Does that sound like love? Does that sound like what Jesus was depicting in his symbol of unconditional love? Believe it or not, this is a symbol of unconditional love. It doesn't matter whether you believe the story or not. It's pretty self-evident, isn't it? Being crucified and saying, "Forgive them, they know not what they do." Is that the same attitude as, "Those demons are retarded, let's fight them and drive out the ignorance with our swords and shield, and I'm going to behead you because you're ignorant. I'm going to behead you because you're ignorant"? Is that love? Is that nature? Is that what God ordained? Because the entire world is still completely shrouded in this misappreciation and misconception of nature, because we are fighting against ourselves. We're fighting against ourselves. Israeli is fighting against the Palestinians. Oh, their religion is dark and evil, and they say the exact same thing opposite side, and oh, don't you know Donald Trump is the devil, and don't you know Hillary Clinton is the devil. We scapegoat nature. We scapegoat our own essence. We scapegoat a part of what is, when all of it is a vehicle of love, which means that there is a dance, there is an activity that is going on between these polarities that is not a problem, that is not a mistake, is not something that needs to be fought against. It needs to be respected. It needs to be revered. It needs to be understood for what it actually is, because lo and behold, the more you project and blame and they're bad and that's demon, and I'm going to run away from that, we are running away from our own shadows. Is this the depiction of what a healthy person is? A mentally healthy person running away from your own shadow? Oh, look, the sun's shining on you, created a shadow. Ah, run away, this is evil, kill this, get rid of this, this isn't a part of me, this isn't a part of me. It's time for us to reconsider our collective beliefs in order to make way for what unconditional love actually is. Is unconditional love something that is, oh yeah, no problem, I understand that. Yeah, no big deal. I can do that. Unconditional love, totally comprehensible, easy to swallow. I don't think so. What do we need, therefore, in order to be the spiritual warriors that we truly are, as we are collectively evolving into that which we worship, which is hopefully love? We are all worshiping love. There's not actually any fractioning here. We're all trying to get to this place amidst the warfare, amidst the battling and the fighting and the fear and the bloodshed. And so let's turn this introverted a little bit. Let's talk about love in terms of our own personal relationships. Because when you're in love with somebody, you're going to encounter their shadow. You're going to encounter what in them is not perfect in light and love, and what therefore is the proper response to that. Oh, kill your shadow, I'm going to destroy your shadow. Oh, your shadow's ugly and gross, and whenever you're in your shadow, I fucking hate you, and so go away. Is that really how we're supposed to be purifying and healing one another? I don't think so. I think that we need to start respecting each other's shadows. I think that when our shadow comes up and you feel possessed by your own fear, your own scariness, and this is how the shadow works. It's all perpetuated by fear. And what we're afraid of being, we become sometimes, because it exists. That potential exists. And we have to respect that potential. We have to respect the part of ourselves that can drag us into hell and make us feel separate from God and make us feel like everything's lost. And so we just flip out and we give up. Yeah, we do. Respect that. Don't fear it. Don't berate yourself more than we already do, coming from thousands of years of, oh, I'm bad for being this way. Oh, I'm bad for being this way. Oh, I'm bad. When are we going to accept that we're human beings? We're supposed to be this way. Let's turn it back to the collective unconscious beliefs. There's this whole, like Jesus fighting the devil. Oh, and like you see the pictures of them like literally like arm wrestling and stuff like this. Think about how much that's perverted our understanding of nature. Jesus went into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights and he was tempted by the devil. Was this really an outside adversary who was coming in and being just like, ha ha ha, you're going to fail, so do this? Or is this more so an inner subpersonality that we all deal with because we're all a part of this nature? How can you make the right choice if the wrong choice wasn't an option to make? Is it really evil then to have that option be available to us? And here's the point. Is this really fighting God, the fact that there is freedom to choose? Isn't the forces of nature that give us that opportunity to choose right from wrong actually in service to God, in service to our nature, in service to what it means to be a human being? Wouldn't it be nice to know that you have chosen to be a good person via your own willpower, your own capability, not because that was just a choiceless, oh, yep, that's just how it is. No, it's like we have the option and the choice and the capability to step our game up. And here is the time to do this. That's why this whole video has this tone. I am encouraging you, step up your game. Don't be afraid of what used to rule over you anymore. How do you do this? Stop fighting against it. You want to end your addiction? You want to end these things that you know are leading you away from your highest potential to be a good person and to da-da-da-da. You can't fight against the things that are threatening you because that is empowering those things. That is making those threats stronger. That is making those threats more dominating of our reality and our life. What does love say about all this? Wouldn't love say something about befriending your enemies? Is this not something that we've heard before? Befriend your enemies, love your neighbor, irrelevant of whether they look ugly or pretty. Isn't that what love actually is? And so isn't it therefore possible to do this? Isn't it possible to love your shadow? Is it possible to love your fears? Is it possible to love your insecurities instead of running away and I'm going to ignore this and I'm never going to look at this and this disaster that happened, forget about it. This scary thing that happened in my past, forget about it. It's not real. It's not what God wanted. And so we fight it and we fight it and we fawn it. What if these things that we are so threatened by are actually in some deep, unfathomable way working for us, working for our own growth, working for our own evolution, working for our own understanding as we have the opportunity to move forward? God is not staying the same. God is also evolving. Unconditional love is by definition not something that can be contained. This is Neptune on the South Node. And this is why all the Neptune stuff is going to be coming out for the next several months. We're going to be confronting our escapes. We're going to be confronting our disillusionments. Can we blame ourselves for having these things? No! Think about thousands of years of this being your savior. Let's say you spend your life in a monastery and this is what you're looking at day in and day out. Might you want to escape from this sometimes? Might this be a little heavy-handed and so we would rather go into all fluffy and light and not touch down with any of this stuff? Don't blame yourself for being a human being and having to go at your own pace as we evolve into the most unfathomable and beyond black and white regions of nature, which is unconditional love, which contains everything, which contains the vehicle of evolution. I'm encouraging this because we are not done with the Pisces age. We have not realized how unconditional love works, and we have not realized it in ourselves. We do not love ourselves yet. Wouldn't we like to know why? Might it have to do that we are having parts of ourselves that that doesn't deserve love? Nope. You did a bad job. You are a failure. You are miserable. Oh man, I don't like you, is what we say to ourselves. Probably more than anybody else in our life says it to us. You want to have a profound realization? Have you realized yet in all of these spiritual groups and finding each other and loving each other, and oh my God, it's so beautiful and so amazing how these people are, and they're so loving and so compassionate and so giving, and we're all harder on ourselves than any other force in the universe. And then we blame that hardness on ourselves on an exterior adversary, instead of taking responsibility for our own self-hatred of the parts of ourselves that we are afraid of, that we do not like, and we're trying to kill off and eliminate. Which to you sounds like real love and which is evil? Killing off and eliminating the dark, scary parts, or loving everything as your friend, as your neighbor? Love your enemies. Which sounds a little more transcendental? Which sounds like it's actually moving to the next level? So that way we're not afraid of adversaries. So we're not afraid of our own shadows. We're not afraid of our own addictions. We're not afraid of the things that possess and control us. Think about how symbolic all this stuff is. Is there really anything out there that is going to possess and control you if you are not giving that power to it by fearing it and separating it from you? It's like we discussed in the last video. You cannot be controlled by that which is not separate from you. This is the time to find out what love actually is. And that means acceptance of the whole thing. You want to really love somebody and show that person that you truly love them? That means that you have to accept all the parts in them that hurt you, that you dislike, that hurt themselves, that are miserable, that are keeping them from being their actual potential. You want that person to actually be in their actual potential? You have to love the things that keep them from that potential first, in order to understand the dynamic that's going on, in order to understand the journey that we're all on. This journey is not a mistake happening and we have to repair the mistake. This is a journey of understanding nature. How could you know what your potential was if you were not threatened by that which challenges it? And if that challenging is in service of our own realization of our own potential, then that which challenges it is not truly the enemy. They are working for us. They are working with us. They are our friends. And how much are they going to control, manipulate, and drag you down once you are seeing them as your friends? Love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love is the transcendental force that ends all warfare. We live in a world of warfare. The majority of warfare that goes on in this day and age is psychic warfare. It's mental warfare. It's fear this, fear this, fear this, when we're totally fine. Most of us are not actually in situations where we're being physically oppressed anymore. Most of my viewers, not all of them. For those that are still in physically oppressive stuff, this is like master's graduate's course, how we can understand how this stuff can still be going on, and yet simultaneously it's all in the service of our own coming into what love actually is, which is having no fear of anything, because love is beyond all of this. So there's a really great New York Times article that came out, very synchronistic with this energy, that's about pessimism in love being necessary. In order to marry someone, you have to be somewhat pessimistic. Now, this is kind of contrary to many spiritual New Age beliefs. The secret, this or that, get rid of whatever you don't like, only focus on what's good, blah, 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 and then only what's good comes to you. Bullshit. This is not nature. That whole secret book is like replaying the same old traps that keep us ensnared. Oh my God, I saw The Secret written for children, and I flipped through this book, and they literally give this to children, a book that was about a child who loses their dog, and so they use mental manipulation, imagining my dog coming back, and then the dog comes back at the end, and it's like, oh yay, you have perfect control over life. What the hell are you teaching kids? This is not how life works. Now when little Johnny's dog doesn't come back, what is he going to do besides pick up the cat of nine tails and beat himself? I couldn't bring my dog back. It's all on me. Everything's supposed to be good in my life and it's not working out that way. Well, gee, I wonder why. Because we're still really addicted to spreading bullshit systems because they seem more comforting, but what they actually do is just trap us in our own personal hells. There's deeper stuff that's going on. I'm sorry when your pet runs away, little Johnny. I am. There is a deeper opening up into what love actually is in the experience of loss, in the experience of death, in the experience of separation, in the experience of divorce. These are all the taboo bad words. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. They're bad. They're bad. Never talk about these things. Well, what do we end up doing to ourselves when we're doing that? We're fearing nature. We're fearing the actual process of love. Love is a dance. It is a coming together and a going away. Coming together and a going away. Coming together and going away. This is heaven. This is hell. This is heaven. This is hell. It is all love. This is transcending the bullshit. This is getting out of what used to control us. You still got addictions? Okay, go into them, come out of them. Go into them, come out of them. Don't fight, kill. Oh, I'm not going to do this. Oh, if I smoke a cigarette, I'm the devil. Oh, if I smoke a cigarette, I'm the worst person in the world. You know, this is just setting ourselves up for disaster. Find the dance. Find the union. Find the friendly relationship between angels and demons, the friendly relationship between the light and the dark, so we can approach our own darkness, our own addictions, our own fears, and we can overcome them. Actually, we're not going to overcome them by picking up a bloody sword and beheading and going on a drunken quest, as if that's what goodness is instead of evil. We're very confused in this day and age, are we not? Saturn's in Sagittarius, forcing us to look at this stuff. The limitations of religion, the limitations of government, the limitations of our own philosophies, of our own perspectives, of our own belief systems. And Saturn is the darkness. Saturn is Satan. Saturn is the devil. And he's saying, look at me. Do you see me? Do you see what I'm actually doing in this world? Are you seriously just going to continue to blame me for everything that's going on when I am clearly doing this in some type of arrangement that is working for us? He's an archangel, and he's simultaneously the Lord of hell. And so we just literally scapegoat this personality as being the enemy that we must fight, and therefore hate and blame. This is not love. This is not love. This was not Jesus' relationship to Lucifer. I'm doing a big talk on Lucifer next spring. I'm going to do an advertisement at the end of this video for Astrology Rising, but we are really trying to change collective beliefs so that way we can move forward into what unconditional love actually is, which is ultimately what? It's empowering. It's empowering. If you stop blaming the darkness and the addictions and the sex habits and the addiction to sexuality and pornography and drinking and tobacco and gambling. I mean, just list every stereotypical bad thing. We all have bad habits and bad things that we do. Wouldn't it be nice to actually overcome those things? Wouldn't it be nice to actually love ourselves enough that we can overcome these things? And that's the only way it's going to happen. It will only happen through loving ourselves more and more, not less. You want to quit cigarettes? Don't hate yourself when you smoke a cigarette. Oh, every time you smoke a cigarette, it is your job to love the shadow in you that is provoking that cigarette smoke. Love that part of yourself, because it's not a bad guy enemy. Why do people get addicted to cigarettes? Because we had something traumatic happen in the past that made us get really flustered. And now we had this discomfort that we needed to pave over with something so that way we can sort of chill out and be comfortable where we are. So you start smoking cigarettes, and this is a coping mechanism. This is not the devil. This is not evil. This is a coping mechanism. What if all of our addictions, what if all of our shadows, what if all of the stuff that controls us and dominates the world is really just uncomfortable people overly attached to coping mechanisms? Well, the only way to overcome our addiction to coping mechanisms is to love that which was afflicted in the first place enough to need a coping mechanism. There are no bad guys that are out there. There are only seriously deranged and confused, wounded children who have become addicted to unhealthy coping mechanisms. That's reality, my friends. That is the global situation. Are we actually seeing it that way? Are we actually seeing ourselves that way? Or are we continuing the crusades? Are we continuing religious bigotry and competition, and my God's better than your God, and my light nature is better than my dark nature, so I'm going to oppress and repress my dark nature. I'm never going to discuss anything that's uncomfortable. I'm never going to discuss anything that goes beyond people's comfort zone. We only come together and talk about what's light and fluffy and good, and then we go home and we focus on that, never confront the rest, and then you just end up having to be thrown into hell at some point because you can't reject ultimately what's a part of your own nature. So we just make it very, very hard for ourselves. So let's see what astrology we can get back to. Today is Thursday, June 2nd. The sun is square to Neptune. Tomorrow, Venus is square to Neptune. Are we getting answers served to us on a silver platter, or are we asking these deep existential questions of what is love? What is my role in connection to love? How can I be a spiritual warrior in a time where there's no prescriptions being told to me anymore? Because if you hadn't noticed, say you are a very devout person and you want to go out into the world, be a force of love, uplift other people, be a healer. Well, nobody's giving you how to do this at all. Everybody's got their own partial fulfilled prescriptions of what that is. And so we are having to step up ourselves right now. And that's going to lead back into this Mars retrograde. What is Mars retrograde about? This is about realizing what masculinity actually is. As we are in a world, a situation that is all about coming back into the feminine, restoration of the divine feminine, women taking back their own power, etc., etc. This is all very good. This is all very powerful. And at the same time, what are us men doing here? You know, it's like all the women going off to your spiritual circle. Women invite only, do this, this, or that. Men have dominated and perverted the world for thousands and thousands of years. Oh, okay, so I guess I'll just be supporting you guys, you know, as I sort of just sit here. It's like, no, men have to do the work ourselves in terms of what masculinity actually is. And this is what Mars actually is. Mars is a very berated and misunderstood planet and sign for very good reason, because during the age of Aries, which was all ruled by Mars, what happened throughout the entire world was religious competition. My dick's better than your dick. My God's better than your God. My God's going to wipe out and destroy your God because you don't know what you're talking about. That was the age of Aries. That was the age of Mars. That is a low octave understanding of what Mars and Aries is. What is the actual principle of masculinity? Is Mars, is the high octave of Aries, which is the knight, the noble, respectful, honorable, protector. This is what masculinity is. A true man knows that the woman, the feminine principle, is the carrier of wisdom. She is in touch with spirit. She is in touch with the mystery. She is in touch with the emotional feelings, the subtle realms that go very beyond what us men are in touch with. And if we men, and this goes for men and women, this is the masculine principle that we are all changing in all of us, because we're all knights, man or woman, in certain ways. We're both. That's actual understanding of nature. This is why we must accept everything in love. The knight honors the feminine principle, which is the softer, more compassionate nature, by being strong, protective, noble. I protect the truth. I protect compassion, which is Venus, which is love, which is wholeness, not warfare. The man with his sword is protecting what real compassion and love is, which embraces all as her children. That's the missing wisdom in this world. Okay, so evidently I talk too much. The camera shut off. And people ask me, how long does it take you to do these videos? 1 hour, 2 hours? I wish. I just got locked out of my house. Anyways, by the time I finish these videos, there's usually about 1 million things that I forgot to say during it. So I just try to do my very best. You can take it or leave it. What I was talking about was the mother, and how essentially masculinity is about defending this inconceivable nature that is the wisdom, that is the mystery. So rather than masculinity fighting for or fighting against, fighting for the mystery, it's not actually like this. The masculine principle is a defensive, loyal, protective of the mystery, not fighting for, not fighting against. It is protecting, it is honoring, it is revering the mystery that goes beyond black and white, that goes beyond simple conception. So now that we understand. So to just sort of summarize, and getting back to the astrology a little bit, in a couple weeks, Sun and Venus are going to square to Chiron. This is all part of this greater moon cycle, beginning with this new moon in Gemini with Venus. This time period is very much about us knowing who our real friends are. This is a time where we may experience isolation or loneliness in terms of being met and understood by others, particularly in a couple weeks. And so this is determining who our real friends are. And our real friends are those that stick around all of us, who can handle all of us, who can see all of us, who can respect all of us. And they don't come with a wagging finger and they say, oh, bad, do, don't. They actually have an empathy and an understanding of the human experience that we all share. That is our real friends. So we need to both stop hanging around people that only lift us up by talking about the superficial, sports games, uplifting, and yeah, we talk about the good sunny sides of life, but we don't do anything else. Unhelpful. Also, we don't want to be just self-sacrificing and giving ourselves over to other people that don't mutually reciprocate and approach us with the same thing. It's like easy to go off, help people when they need help, and then when they feel better, they leave you and they go into the superficial groups, etc. This is a very opportune time for us to connect with our real, loving, close relationships, to respect, to honor, and revere these connections. These are the people that are helping us evolve. These are the people that are taking us into the new age. And this is the type of relationship that we want to be fostering, both in our relationships and towards ourselves, embracing all of us, seeing all of us as children, as nature, as being part of a greater family, not discarding, not ruling out, not declaring war, but rather honoring and respecting that compassionate, softer, feminine principle which embraces all as her children. That is the real unconditional love. I embrace all as children of God, irrelevant of what silly, stupid things we do in this world where all is available and open to us. We have those options, we have those capabilities. We can't judge somebody for choosing the things that we don't. Rather, we can respect and honor and thank those for choosing the things that we don't, so we can see what happens when those make those choices, when those things line up that way. So I very much wish you all the best in this. I am very much encouraging and desiring us to move forward and stepping into a greater level of fearlessness, which is taking back power and taking back control over our own lives. It's not about having total domination over the world. It's not about delivering your philosophy over everybody else's philosophy. It's about having control of your world, having control of your universe, having possession over your own shadows, so that way you're not fighting your own shadows. Your own shadows can work for you. So, public service announcement. As if this video wasn't long enough, I am very honored to be participating in an astrology rising conference. This is with my teacher Kai Pacha. There is a whole array of amazing astrologers that will be presenting in Costa Rica in spring of 2017. I'm very, very excited to be a part of this. This is something new and different. This is different than past astrology conferences. This is a very much a coming together of unique souls on unique journey. And so I'm very, very excited to be presenting this opportunity to meet with you all in person, to share this really intimate experience. I know for myself, this is going to be a huge, life-changing, paradigm-shifting experience, so I very much look forward to have the opportunity to potentially share that beside some of you. And also, I continue to advertise my chart readings. This is another announcement, is that I cannot offer free astrology readings anymore. I've been getting just as many free reading requests as paid requests, and I get very disrespected by people who require free readings. And so this has been a hard lesson for myself, but please do not request free astrology readings from me anymore. I'm really trying to get the ball moving forward in terms of feeling stress-free and more liberated in my own world that I am also trying to take more control over. So please try to understand that. At the same time, I'm very open to answering any questions in the comments below. Please feel free to correspond with me through email, and I'd be very happy to respond to you that way. So again, I'm wishing all the best for you. May we all step into this deeper, more unfathomable level of love and actualize our true potency and nature. Namaste.